Greetings and salutations, good people. My name is Otis James Bush Jr. This is OJB Cooking. It's morning time, and I got me a hankering for some good old cinnamon rolls. It's morning. Now, we could just pop open, old pre-made can of them boys, throw them in the oven, but, how entertaining would that be? That wouldn't produce much content nor teach us anything. So we're going to take just a few simple ingredients and hook up some really good cinnamon rolls in a very short amount of time. Stay with me. It's just something to be said about being able to take some stuff that you got around the crib, put it all together, hook up something dope. You know what I mean? And that's what we're going to do today. So what we're going to need? We got some whole milk, some yogurt, some powdered sugar, light brown sugar, some raw cane sugar, some flour, of course, good old sea salt, baking powder, baking soda, vanilla extract, cinnamon, good old butter softened, and we got us a pan we're going to use circular to hook this all up in. You hear? While we're here, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, for a real true G, I appreciate you, you know what I mean? Get on in there, drop a comment, smash the like button, I appreciate you. Help your boy out with that good old algorithm. As always, come on with me. Alright, now the first thing we're going to do is hook up our dough. We're going to use some all-purpose flour, and we're going to use 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, although it looks like I only use 1.5 because I messed around and edited it out. The other cup, but don't worry about it, it's 2.5, I promise. We're going to use 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder and 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and we're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of salt, good old salt, and then we're just going to give it a whisk. Going to mix that up real good, set it to the side. We'll throw an egg in the bowl here, as you can see. I'm going to whip it up real quick. Just like that. We're going to make a nice little well in the middle of our dough. If you watch the peach cobbler video, you remember that. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of lukewarm milk to our egg mixture. We're going to whip that up. I emphasize lukewarm. You want to be able to put your finger in there, no problems, and be just lukewarm to the touch. And we got a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt going into our well. So that we're going to add a little bit of our egg and milk mixture. And we just going to start to slowly and gently mix that around. As you can see, I'm just mixing a little bit of our flour mixture in with the wet mixture. And we're just going to take our time and mix everything up. And what you're going to see is me speed this up. And I'm going to add a little bit of milk and egg mixture. And then you're going to mix a little bit of egg and milk mixture. And then you're going to mix. And we're just going to repeat that process. Watch me work. Oh. It's a little sticky messing with dough. We're getting there. We're going to speed up, add a little bit more milk here. We're going to speed it back up a little bit more. Now, the reason why I wait to the absolute last minute to get my hands involved is just because, again, dough is super sticky. I did oil that spatula I'm using a little bit. And then before I grab the dough out of this bowl here in just a second, you will see I'm going to oil my hands a bit just to make sure, so we're going to throw a little flour on the counter, make sure nothing sticks. As you can see, I'm adding a little bit of oil. Now, a quick pro tip here while I pat this up and kind of start to knead it a bit. Make sure you're not using a bunch of different oils. I use like 3 different oils here. I didn't mean to. I just wasn't paying attention. I used some canola oil to line one of the bowls, as well as the pan when I went to bake. And I used olive oil on my hands when I went to work with my dough. I would suggest just picking one oil, probably vegetable oil, and working with that throughout the whole thing. That goes for you on your hands. That goes for the pan or whatever. As you can see, I'm just kneading the dough here. And I probably could have kneaded it a bit more. I probably only kneaded this dough for about 3 minutes. If you do it at the crib, go ahead and knead your dough for at least about 5 to 6 minutes. I still got some pretty good air bubbles in it, which I'm gonna show y'all in a minute. But just a little bit extra love and tenderness would have helped. That was probably too much oil as well, by the way. You gonna cover that with saran wrap, and you gonna let that sit for about an hour, 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour at the most, and then you'll be ready to go. We're gonna move on to our filling. And second thing I would adjust here, I probably would only use 1 stick of butter. you go see, towards the end we gonna have us a cinnamon sugary buttery mess. But the cinnamon roll still came out great, but we want to reduce that a bit. And we gonna add 1/4 cup of light brown sugar into our butter here. Just gonna mix that up real good. All right, I'm gonna add some regular raw cane sugar, 1/4 cup of that. And another pro tip, you probably have a lot more ease mixing this up with the fork like I do towards the end of this clip. That is a tablespoon and a half of cinnamon. Probably would have used 2 tablespoons if I was making this again. And I'll be sure to put all the adjustments and why down in the comment section, or in the description section rather. Be sure to check that out. We're going to add a touch of vanilla. That's probably about a teaspoon or so into our mixture as well. I thought it gave it a great flavor. You could do that or not. That was just me. Threw a little bit more oil on my hands, grabbed my dough out after the hour, put a little bit more flour on our counter here, and then we're going to hook this up. Now what we're about to do is just, we're going to pat it, get it in a nice round ball, get some flour on our rolling pin here, and we're going to start to slowly roll this out, and we're going for a shape of a square. And you can see I'm going to get pretty close. If you're at the crib and you're trying to get it to the shape of a square, you can use a square cutting board or whatever you want to. I didn't feel like getting my cutting board all dirty. They go to air bubbles I was telling y'all about. But I didn't want to get my cutting board all dirty and floury, so I just used the countertop. It's a lot easier to clean and spray down and whatnot. And but as you can see, working with the corners here, and you can see it's kind of taking on the shape of a square-ish. You know what I mean? But close enough. And if you look real close, you can still see some air bubbles in that dough. Hooked it up. Hooked it up. Finishing touches on this thing. And now we go put our mixture on. Now, the reason why I say only use, a stick of butter is because I had way too much of this. This is my first time ever making cinnamon rolls. You live and you learn. That's what this channel is all about, man. Players mess up sometimes, and it did make a mess, but it still turned out really delicious. But if you're gonna make this at the crib, man, you could use 1 stick of butter, and even then, I would make this a very thin spread to make sure that you don't have too much cinnamon, sugary butteriness on your hands and in your pan. You feel me? We're gonna go ahead and start to real slowly roll this. I sped this up about 200%, so I actually didn't do it this fast. So take your time at the crib. There's no need to rush. You want to make sure that you don't leave any dough on the counter, or at the worst, break your dough and have to start over, or whatever the case is. All right, I got some good old dental floss that you can just find around your crib, and we go use this to cut it. I use this instead of a knife so that I didn't squish my rolls, and it helped keep a nice circular shape. So we just go slide that floss under your roll, and then cross it and pull. Getting a little bit more flour on my floss because it was starting to stick. There you go. There you go. Boy, look how pretty that is. Killing them. Kill them. Oh. Get these good on situated. And now we ready for the oven, baby. Figured I hit y'all with a little bakery music. You feel me? Can you smell that? Can you smell that cinnamon and sugary goodness? Alright, we're gonna whip us up a real quick glaze here. Your glaze can be as thick or as thin as you want it. I tried to get mine a little bit medium. I didn't want it too thick. I didn't want it too thin. I probably could have went a little bit more thick, especially since my cinnamon rolls are still hot. But it turned out great. No worries. If you want yours a little bit more thick at the crib, add a little bit more powdered sugar, less milk, and hook it up. And there you go, baby. Look at that. Game, baby, yeah. Look at that beautiful footage. golden and brown, cinnamon, sugary goodness. No. Yeah, hooked it up real nice. Real nice. And now y'all know what time it is.
All right, good people. Moment of truth. I'm gonna test it out and see what it do. Oh yeah, I think I'm doing okay. Boy, I'll just take a big old bite out of it. You feel me? Few minor adjustments. I would use 1 stick of butter for the filling. I use a stick and a half. Made a mess, but I mean, you know, still delicious. I mean, it's just cinnamon and sugary butter in this area. You're probably good with just 1 stick. I would also